Hi there, and welcome to the talk all about better team collaboration for more creativity. Uh, this talk also has an unofficial name, which is Lessons for Marketers from a Game Jam, or How I Stress Myself Out for 31 Days on Purpose for Fun. But before we get into it, who the heck am I? I'm Naj Maslam. You can call me Naj, and I am a marketing alchemist. I help businesses turn their existing gifts, their existing elements into marketing gold. So, I have over 15 years of marketing in various industries: e commerce, travel, nonprofit, tech, gaming, you name it. I'm a multi-classing maven with design, writing, and production skills. So, as marketers, and I'm assuming you're a marketer because you're watching this, we're problem solvers. And to solve problems, you need a whole load of creativity. And the problem is, for many of us in teams big and small, we're often trying to keep our heads above water. We're putting out fires instead of proactively thinking of creative solutions to keep those fires from happening in the first place. Or we're putting out minimum viable marketing instead of things that surprise and delight. Hmm. So I thought that I would share lessons from a pretty unexpected place. A recent experience I had, which was taking part in a game jam. So, for those of you who are initiated, a game jam is where you have to create a game from scratch, a whole game, right? From scratch within a set time frame. And these can last anywhere from 2 days all the way to 3 months. Maybe even longer, I don't know. But yes, the key is that you need to create a game, often to a theme, with some rules, within a time frame. So, as a big old gaming nerd, I joined up with a bunch of friends to make a visual novel throughout December. There were about 20 plus of us with some experienced game devs, maybe two or three, but the average overall were that the majority of us were new to making games. I took the role of project manager, or what I playfully called resident cat herder. So you might be thinking, how the heck do these lessons relate to marketing? Well, there is, of course, the thing that makes probably a whole lot of sense to you is that with game jams, it's about making a complete product in a fixed time frame, which probably sounds very familiar. Then there's, of course, creating engaging and immersive experiences for our audiences, right? Because we're having to cut through the noise, and that's getting harder, and it really is all about engaging people with our marketing messages, immersing them in the storytelling. These are words that we kind of bandy about a lot as marketers. Then, of course, keeping team motivation up and the creativity flowing. Oh boy, yes. I mean, especially towards the end of the year, right? I'm sure a lot of us feel like we're flagging, kind of on our last legs. And maybe that's also how some of you feel on a weekly basis. I do not know. So, and if so, are you okay? Anyway, so let's talk about the top lessons that from my game jam experience through the lens of being a career marketer for better team creativity. So we have fail fast, fail forward. We have find the fun, be purpose led, bake diversity in, embrace constraints, and learn by doing. Right, let's get into it. So, fail fast, fail forward. As marketers, we know this well. We're all about iterating, we're all about learning from data. Iteration is at the heart of optimizing our marketing initiatives. So, think of this as a reminder more than brand new information. But there's also something around feeling like you need to put out a perfect thing, which is also problematic. Um, and there's also the other thing of like just putting out stuff that is kind of okay. You don't actually get a lot of data from that either. I think it's good to take some risks, if a little bit incremental, right? So, failing fast, failing forward. Take those incremental risks. Ask yourself, okay, what's something that we haven't done before that I think could really resonate with our audience? Making those tiny little bets and be purpose led. The really refreshing thing being part of a game jam is no matter what, you need to have a completed game at the end. That is what needs to happen at the end of this time frame. And as a marketer, that was incredibly freeing because it can sometimes feel a bit muddy, right? In our day to day jobs, we can often feel like, what is it we're working towards? And I would encourage you, and again, this is a reminder, this is all stuff we know, is treat your marketing pushes with the same single minded focus. It does really help to actually sit down with yourself, have a conversation, and think, no matter what, by the end of this time frame, this need to happen. This needs to happen. Bring it back to what really matters. Embrace constraints. So, embrace the constraints as an accelerator for creativity rather than an impediment. Um, so again, with Game Jam, and certainly the Game Jam I was part of, we were doing it for free. E- Everybody was kind of doing this like after work, after school. It's a it was a hobby at the end of the day, but we still had to make a whole game. And yeah, and we also didn't have like as much in-house knowledge as we wish we'd had. But knowing all of this, we kind of took that into our stock taking and we used it as an accelerator for creativity because we thought, okay, we can't do this thing, let's do this other thing instead. So I think that's an amazing lesson for marketers to take back, right? Have a frank conversation about what you can and can't do at the beginning of an initiative or a project, and then plan around it. Because, again, from my experience, what we find is that we'll make a business case for something and then we'll feel disappointed once we don't get as much budget or as much resource as we'd like. I think this is very much more about a mental shift. It's about thinking, okay, we don't have very much. What can we do? How can we get creative with this? Because ultimately, creativity flourishes in constraints. I mean, just ask any writer or designer about being faced with a blank white page. It's kind of scary. It feels like creativity can wither looking at it. So, creativity flourishes in constraints. So, have that mental shift. Find the fun. Okay, now this is, I think, probably my favorite tip, which is finding the fun in what you're doing because ultimately it will shine in what comes out the other end. Uh, this is just a great lesson to bring from the gaming world in general. I always say that we live in a situation where many of us have to work to pay rent and, you know, food and shelter and all of that stuff. And we spend a third of our weekdays doing that. So work doesn't have to be a terrible place to be. Why not make it fun? So if you can find the fun in your team culture, your processes, and maybe it's not fun, but it's also fulfillment, right? If you can do that, it will shine through in your project. You'll find ways to make things better because of that intrinsic value. So yes, find the fun. Now, bake diversity in. So, what do I mean by this? As a product marketer, I know that having a diverse range of opinions is vital. It's something that is said time and again. If any of you have been through any sort of product marketing certification, you'll know this very well. But oftentimes in the churn of getting things out, team members' hidden skills can be overlooked because it can feel easy to stick people into categories. Designers are designers, copywriters are copywriters. That is it. I'm the marketer. That's what we're all doing. But actually, a really incredible thing that happened during the game jam was that because we were all helping each other and everyone was getting stuck in and everyone was having fun, we had all of these hidden skills come out from the team. And actually, I even contributed background art and art to the game. I just thought I was going to be managing the project. So, yes, get everybody bought in, get everyone to find the fun, get involved, see if anybody has any hidden potential skills that can really bring up your, well, ramp up your project's quality, right? So encourage team brainstorming and problem solving sessions. Invite everybody in for those type of sessions. And finally, learn by doing. Um, so yes, it can often feel scary in a workplace to say I don't know because you've been hired to do a job, and I don't know. It feels bad to say I don't know something. So a lot of us don't want to be like that. A lot of us want to appear like, yeah, we know everything. But because of that, we often miss out on the opportunity to learn from others or even to mentor because we're so worried about trying to learn things on the go ourselves. Now, the really refreshing thing, again, from being in a game jam was that everyone is starting from zero because everyone is doing this project from scratch. And that's freeing. It was the idea that all of us were learning at the same time in the same boat, and it became really fun to learn new things together. And even if there was some things that overlap with our past experience, we were looking at it with a brand new frame, right? Because we were looking at using our past skills, but for a brand new project. So I would say to you, promote the idea within your team that everyone is in the same boat. Assume that there's always something to learn. And take the opportunity to teach other people as well, because that is another way to master your skills too, by teaching others. Now, I'd love to get into the nitty gritty, top practical tips I found from the game jam that I never thought I would have learned that I think apply very well to marketing teams. So, firstly, make everything a click away. We all have access to so many different programs and apps. I mean, I have three different screens I'm working off right now. I have so many tabs open. So if you can make everything a click away, it is so valuable. It's just one of those tiny tips can make things just so much more frictionless. If you have a request for someone, link them to the thing that you're talking about. If you're trying to tell people about something, make sure that the thing you're telling them about there's more context and more things they can read about. Just a click away, right? Make everything a click away. Now, in your team, always provide context as well. Again, this kind of goes for requests, but just about anything too. Not everybody knows everything that's going on, and you just kind of need to assume that you have the curse of knowledge. So always provide more context than you think people actually need. It's always incredibly helpful. And if people already know what you're talking about, you've just kind of solidified and just confirmed in the mindset they know what you're talking about as well. None of this back and forth. Okay? Then you also want to promote a culture of learning. Again, like I said, it is really freeing to know that I'm not the only one that doesn't know anything. Other people don't know anything too. And if you can promote that psychological safety and that everyone is learning, there's always something new to learn, that is just perfect for creativity to grow in your team. A really odd one is remote silent co-working. So this probably goes for like the hybrid remote people in the audience. If you're working from home in your pajama pants, yes, I'm talking to you. So it can feel a bit lonely working remotely. But one thing we found as a team that is that we set up these co-working spaces online, which is we jump into a room on Discord or like an online meeting room, but we put our microphones on mute. Some of us would have our videos on, some of us would have it off, and we just kind of work quietly on stuff. And it's just this really nice feeling of togetherness while at the same time being productive. So try it out. I fully recommend it. So my main takeaways are from this entire talk and just big lessons that you can take back for better collaboration and creativity within your team is look for inspiration in non-obvious places. For me, it was a game jam. For you, it might be something where your passion takes you. Follow that thread. Creativity is a skill to be nurtured. It's not something you're born with. I poo-poo that thought. You need to actively make space for creativity in your life and to grow it. And finally, I would say prioritize improving processes for lasting benefits. It's just a mouthful to say that if you have a choice between just churning something out and spending a little bit more time to make sure that the process is better the next time around, do that second one. So that brings me to the end of my talk. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Najma Salam. You can find me through my website, najmasalam.com, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. And if you're curious about the game that me and my friends made, it's called Santa's Secret. It is a visual novel. It is a murder, mystery, cyber noir. I think you'll have a lot of fun playing it. So feel free to go out there, play it. Tell me what you think. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a creative rest of your day. Bye bye.